The rain pattered against the cracked glass of Alina's window as she sat on her worn-out sofa, her knees tucked against her chest. The small apartment smelled faintly of dampness and burnt toast, evidence of her failed attempt at making dinner earlier. The day had been long. Too long. Her shift at the bakery had stretched 12 exhausting hours, and even after all that work, her earnings barely covered bread, milk, and her brother's medicine. She pressed her palms against her face, fighting back the tears threatening to spill. Her younger brother, Sammy, was only 12, too frail to attend school most days. He lay asleep in the next room, his cough echoing softly through the thin walls. Alina's chest tightened at the sound. She had promised their late mother that she would protect him, but lately, that promise felt like an impossible burden. She reached for her phone, fingers trembling as she opened her messages. She needed to vent. Just a few words to her best friend, Zara, who was the only person she could still lean on. Her thumbs flew across the screen. "I can't do this anymore. I'm tired, I'm scared, and I feel like the world is crushing me. If only someone could save me, even just for a moment." She hovered over the send button, her heart heavy, then pressed it before she could stop herself. A sigh escaped her lips as she tossed the phone aside. But seconds later, it buzzed in her hand again. She frowned. Zara usually took ages to reply. "Where are you?" Alina's eyebrows knit together. She checked the contact name, and her heart skipped. She hadn't sent the message to Zara at all. In her tired haze, she had clicked on a different number. One she didn't even remember saving. Her stomach dropped. Embarrassed, she quickly typed back, "Sorry, wrong number." She expected that to be the end of it. Maybe a confused reply, or silence. But the phone buzzed again almost instantly. "Don't move. I'm sending a helicopter. Come now." Alina blinked at the screen. Her first instinct was to laugh. Who would say something so absurd? A helicopter. For her, this had to be some prank. Maybe the person was joking, or drunk, or both. But before she could type another apology, another message came. "Look outside your window." A chill ran through her. Slowly, she pushed herself up and walked to the narrow window. At first, all she saw were the flickering streetlights, the cracked pavement, the stray cats darting between trash bins. And then, she heard it. The distant, unmistakable thump-thump-thump of helicopter blades cutting through the night air. Her heart pounded against her ribs. "No way," she whispered to herself. The sound grew louder, stronger, until her walls rattled. She leaned forward, hands pressed against the glass, and there it was, hovering above the building across the street, a sleek black helicopter descending like something out of a movie. Its polished surface gleamed beneath the city lights, and its searchlights sliced through the darkness. Alina's breath caught in her throat. She squinted, shielding her eyes against the harsh light. The helicopter landed smoothly on the rooftop opposite hers, the blades slicing the night sky. From its cabin, a tall figure emerged. He was flanked by two men in dark suits, their movements sharp and professional, like trained bodyguards. And then she saw him. The man at the center walked with the kind of commanding presence that could silence a crowd. His black suit was perfectly tailored, his movements confident, purposeful. Even from this distance, Alina could see the sharp lines of his face, the way his silver-gray eyes scanned the rooftops like a predator hunting its prey. When his gaze finally locked on her window, she froze. It was as though time itself had stopped. Her heart skipped, then raced wildly. She knew that face. Everyone did. It had been on the covers of magazines, financial news reports, and whispered rumors that spread like wildfire. Adrian Knight, the billionaire tycoon. The ruthless investor whose name Alina's heart hammered as she stared across the street. The billionaire, Adrian Knight himself, was looking directly at her. His sharp gaze seemed to pin her in place, as if he had known exactly where she would be, as if her desperate message had been written only for him. Her trembling hand dropped from the window. "This isn't real. It can't be real." A knock rattled her door. She jumped. "Miss," a deep voice called from outside. "Mr. Knight is requesting your presence." Alina's breath caught in her throat. She backed away. No, this must be some mistake. But when she hesitated, the voice grew firmer. "We'll escort you safely. Please don't be afraid." Something inside her whispered to run, to lock the door, to hide. And yet, another part of her, the one weighed down by exhaustion, poverty, and loneliness, urged her to see what would happen if, for once, she stopped saying no to impossible chances. With shaking hands, she slipped on her worn coat, quietly peeked into her brother's room, and whispered, "I'll be back soon, Sammy. I promise." When she opened the door, two suited men stood waiting. Their presence was imposing, but they weren't threatening. One extended a hand toward the stairwell. Minutes later, she found herself stepping onto the rooftop. The helicopter's blades were still spinning, sending gusts of wind whipping her hair into chaos. And there he was, Adrian Knight, larger than life, standing only a few feet away. Up close, he was even more intimidating. Tall, broad-shouldered, every detail of his suit screaming wealth and precision. His silver eyes locked onto hers, sharp but not unkind. Alina swallowed hard, her voice barely a whisper. "This is a mistake. I didn't mean to." Adrian lifted a hand, silencing her. His presence alone carried authority that made words falter. "You sent me that message," he said, his voice deep, resonant, and strangely steady despite the roar of the blades. Alina's lips parted. "It wasn't for you. I was just venting. I sent it to the wrong number." A faint smile tugged at the corner of his lips, but his eyes remained serious. "There are no mistakes, Alina." The sound of her name on his tongue made her shiver. She hadn't told him. How did he? "I don't understand," she whispered. Adrian took a step closer, his gaze never leaving hers. "Your message wasn't a mistake. It was a call for help. And I don't ignore those." Her chest ached at his words. Nobody had ever said that to her before. Nobody had ever seen her like this, small, vulnerable, drowning in silence. "Why?" she managed. "Why would someone like you care about me? You don't even know me." For a moment, something flickered in his eyes, something raw, something human beneath the layers of power and control. "Because I know what it feels like to need saving and have no one come," he said quietly, so only she could hear. Alina's breath hitched. The world around them blurred. The guards, the helicopter, the city lights below. All she could see was him. Adrian extended his hand toward her. His voice softened, almost coaxing. "Come with me. Just for tonight. No obligations, no strings. Let me show you what it feels like not to carry the world alone." Her heart pounded. Every instinct screamed that this was insane. She was a bakery worker, a struggling guardian to her brother. He was Adrian Knight, a man from a different universe entirely. And yet, behind his commanding presence, there was sincerity in his words. A sincerity that tugged at something deep inside her. Her phone buzzed again in her pocket. She glanced down. A message from her landlord. Rent overdue. Last warning. Then another, from the pharmacy. Medication ready, unpaid. The weight of her reality crashed over her like a wave. She looked up at Adrian, at the hand still waiting patiently between them. Tears blurred her vision as she whispered, "What if I regret it?" Adrian's lips curved into a small, knowing smile. "Then you can walk away. But tonight, you won't." Her fingers trembled as she reached forward, her hand brushing his. The warmth of his grip was firm, steady, unshakable. "Trust me," he murmured. And before she could change her mind, he guided her into the helicopter. As the blades roared louder and the city shrank beneath them, Alina pressed her face to the window. The streets she had always known, the life that had always felt like a trap, grew smaller and smaller until it was nothing but a blur of lights. Her chest tightened. Not from fear, but from something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. Beside her, Adrian Knight watched her with a gaze that promised her life was about to change forever. He alone commanded fear and respect in boardrooms worldwide. And now, he was staring at her.